Maybe. Maybe it was when I heard you call them Krispies, blue-black mysteries, willingly and risk-free dish your black history, that I was motivated to release what's in me. Or maybe it was when you claimed his lips and nose were too thick, accent you couldn't get, too Afrocentric, that I chose to trip. Or maybe it was when you asked if I saw Nala and Rafiki, when I traveled overseas, contracted AIDS from a hickey, ate fried bananas and swung from a tree, that I decided to release the tigress in my speech. Or maybe it's just time to put an end to the neglect and admit there is a disconnect that causes us to sever all connections between our African roots and American reflections. I know some are thinking while rapidly blinking and winking behind my back, cause you're really not for real about this mission. And others are afraid to listen and face the facts that our vision never included going back in time. But it's about time for this generation to step up next in line and break records like Usain Bolt, sprinting to pass the torch and rekindle the blaze and hark back, cause some of us have forgotten what it means to be black. And obviously, some of us have arrived and don't want to go back. Some of us have decided not to give back and lend a helping hand. So when we see an African, immediately we criticize his native land. We scoff at the rich culture of the motherland. We ridicule his swagger, analyze his strut, condemn his vernacular, while all the while checking out his butt. We mock the sounds of clicking and start picking. We find fault, not beauty, in the darkness of his skin. We compare and contrast it with what's ugly and forbidden. Sure, we can blame it on what's written, or we can blame it on what's hidden. We can talk about it all day while sitting, or we can hold ourselves accountable for what we're not giving or getting. You see, I've heard this all before. The condemnation that hurts us both at our core. It's the circle of hate, the devastation of self, obstacles eating away at our health, preventing us from gaining any kind of wealth. This contention is driving me crazy and forcing our ancestors to push up daisies, because contrary to popular belief, all black folks ain't lazy. And all Africans aren't having multiple babies, and we aren't all uneducated, and they're not all sophisticated, and we may or may not speak like the queen, and they may or may not be descendants of kings. But how will you know? How will you know if you practice distancing yourself and you never, ever go? So maybe it was the sister with the locks who cocked her head in shock when she heard I fell in love with the dark West African that's compelled me to speak from my heart. Or maybe it was Sankofa the movie that told the African American story of how we must return to our past in order to be free, that inspires me to write poetry. Or maybe it was my trip to Gory Island, where I stood in the house of slaves in a 6-by-6 foot cave, feeling both proud and brave, that obligates me not only to speak but to hug and to wave, to be conscious of my speech and bridle my tongue, inhale love and reverence through the pits of my belly up through my lungs with history, chronicles of the bitter, beautiful past. Let my yesterdays reflect tomorrows, and the rumors and stereotypes be our last. This sibling rivalry must come to a cease. Right here, right now. Let's write truth with peace.